Welcome back to How to Survive a Horror Movie. Page 28. Craven. Cover, recon, arsenal, vehicle, escape, north. The time of analysis is over. You've been sucked into the terrorverse, and as much as you feel like crying or making skid marks in your tidy whities, you better pull yourself together. And right soon. Because if you don't, the boogeyman's really going to give you something to cry about, assuming he lets you keep your eyes. Your situation requires immediate action, and the Craven method has delivered for just such an emergency. It's kind of stop, drop, and roll for horror movie victims. A way to stay alive long enough to summon your courage and get out of immediate danger. So take a deep breath, stick to the letters, and come with me if you want to live. That would be amazing, honestly, if Bruce Campbell did a reading of this. Hi, Chaz. Take cover. Running around in a panic is the fastest way to end up with a machete in your back. What you need right now is a temporary headquarters. Oh, wait a minute. Someone just reminded me of that. Hold on, guys. Where is it? There she is. There. Take cover. Running around in a panic is the fastest way to end up with a machete in your back. What you need right now is a temporary headquarters, a place to wipe the sweat from your brow, take a pull off the old asthma inhaler, and formulate your plan. Some of the best places to do that, good old everyday houses. Though not ideal fortresses, the average two-story house is almost always the closest option. If you're already in one, great. If not, run into the first one you see. If there's a family inside, even better. They'll call the cops, and the horror villains tend to scatter when the cops arrive. Go to the highest floor and check all the closets. Look under the bed and use whatever you can to barricade the door and windows. There's sound. Water towers. If your movie takes place in a small Midwestern town, this might very well be the tallest structure around. If you can get to the top, you'll have a highly defensible. There's only that one long ladder to worry about. Perch, with a 360-degree bird's eye view of the battlefield. Even better, the available water supply will allow you to stay longer if you have to. Churches. While the power of Christ won't stop all forms of evil, zombies are notoriously agnostic. It'll slow down most demons, supernatural slashers, or vampires that happen to be on your tail. Even better, churches tend to have fewer exits to cover and plenty of pews to use for blockades. Lead-lined stained glass windows are tough to break through, and many churches have spires or bell towers that serve as great vantage points. A word of warning, over-barricading is a common horror movie mistake. People get so focused on trying to keep anything from getting in that they forget to leave themselves a way out. For example, locking yourself in a bank vault might stop the killer in his tracks, but now what? Remember, the Craven steps are strictly temporary, a way to stop the bleeding before the real surgery begins. Unless you're being chased by vampires, in which case you can just stay put till morning. Conduct reconnaissance. Now that you've had a moment to catch your breath, it's time to get an idea of where the enemy is and what he's up to. If you don't have the height of a church spire or water tower working for you, peek through the highest window in your hideout and take a look. Do you see the attacker? Is he standing still or looking for a way in? Is he favoring one side of the hideout over another? If you're being pursued by a group, are there any areas where their ranks are thin? Is there any unoccupied vehicles or busy roads in sight? All of this information will help you choose the most promising escape route. If you see nothing, they're probably right behind you. No, wait! Don't turn around! Just pretend you're still reading this page. Nice and cool. That's it. Now, on the count of 3, cover your face with your arms and jump over the railing, out of the bell tower, or through the window. Either you jump or you die. Ready? 1, 2, just kidding. You're totally screwed. Gathering an arsenal. You see a path to freedom. Now all you have to do is fight your way down it. To do that, you'll need some kind of weapon. If you're barricaded in a house, look for a baseball bat, kitchen knife, or anything that kids aren't allowed to play with indoors. Even a can of oven cleaner is better than nothing. If you're holed up in a church, grab some heavy-duty candlesticks or a collection plate, which can be thrown with deadly, decapitating force. And if you're up on that water tower, get your hands on the nearest, Actually, there really aren't too many options with a water tower. You really should have thought of that before you climbed up there. Okay. Hold on, I'll get it for you. By the way, feel free to donate if you want. You can use Streamlabs, Ko-fi, or whatever you guys want. And some of it should pop up. I think I got the Ko-fi working on here. If I didn't, I'll fix it. See, commandeer a vehicle. You've summoned some courage, grabbed a weapon, and hopefully spotted a nearby unoccupied vehicle or busy road during your reconnaissance. Now it's time to kick a little ass. In a burst of adrenaline-fueled speed, make a run for it, using your weapon to clobber, cut, or blind anything in your path. Your only goal, is to reach the nearest car or truck, get inside, and blow town as fast as inhumanly possible. If you reach an unoccupied vehicle first, get in. Don't bother smashing the window. They left the car unlocked. Lock the doors and pull down the driver's side sun visor. The keys will simply drop into your lap. When you try to start the engine, it'll turn over and over again. But don't worry, it'll kick in as soon as the attackers reach the car and pound on the window. If you reach a busy road first, simply run into oncoming traffic and wave your arms wildly. Inevitably, an attractive member of the opposite sex will see you at the last second, skid and smash into you. Yes, you've been seriously injured, but you've also just scored your love interest. And more importantly, your ride. When commandeering an unoccupied vehicle, simply pull down the sun visor and the keys will drop into your lap. Make your escape. This is the easiest part. Just bury the accelerator and don't look back. If you've just been picked up by the hot blonde, move closer to her on that bench seat, stare into her eyes, and floor it. Let's see. Ejection seat number 1. The genre switcheroo. Should you find yourself in the clutches of certain death, fangs to your neck, knife to your throat, there are only 4 proven methods of making a last-minute escape. Called ejection seats because of their drastic last resort nature. Ejection seat number 1 is the genre switcheroo. The switcheroo works by doing something to confuse the killer and the screenwriter, just long enough to get clear of the immediate kill zone. This is accomplished by doing something completely incongruous with the situation, something that leaves the audience asking, wait, is this really a horror movie? Move your mouth out of sync with your dialogue. Demand to know where magic sword is. Use the words revenge or master in every sentence. Genre, martial arts. Fart. This should be easy, considering you're already moments away from making it in your pants. Genre, teen comedy. Slip your attacker the tongue. Potentially gross depending on the type of killer you're dealing with, but quite effective. Genre, romance. Light a cigarette and chastise your attacker in Italian. That shit won't work if you're speaking in Italian. Light a cigarette and chastise your attacker in Italian. Doesn't even have to be real Italian. Use your hands a lot. Genre, artsy foreign film. Yeah, if you know anything about Italian, you're still fucked in that point. Deliver a long, stoic monologue with an English accent. about a lifetime of regret, unrequited love, and summers at the estate in Yorkshire. Genre, merchant ivory. N. Head north. In terrorverse America, it's always better to be north of wherever you are. If you're in Maine, you'll soon reach the safety of 98% horror movie free Canada. Ditto if you're in the creepy videotape-laden Pacific Northwest. If you're in a desolate Southwest, you'll be playing slots in Vegas before dawn. If you're on an alien-infested Pennsylvania farm, you'll be in upstate New York, where few horror movies take place, since everyone forgets it's there. Yeah. So put the car in D, point the compass to N, and get the F out of there. Everyone in the YouTube chat having a blast tonight. The 7 Deadly Horror Movie Sins. The 7 deadly horror movie sins date back to the earliest days of Christianity. They were devised as a way to keep followers from indulging their less attractive urges: lust, pride, wrath, gluttony, sloth, envy, and greed. In Catholicism, the transgressions were, and still are, dealt with through confession and prayer. In the Church of Latter-day Horror movies, however, there's a different set of 7 deadly sins and only 1 punishment. I'm getting the other horror song. Give me a second. We're doing it live. The first deadly sin, doubt. There are 2 types of horror movie characters: those who believe your story and those who don't. And while believers are by no means safe, at least they've taken the first step down the long road toward survival. Doubters, however, can always count on being dead before the end credits. That's not always... yeah. I'll lower that just a bit. It was just a dream, honey. No, it wasn't. Come on, people. Your son, daughter, or best friend is having reoccurring dreams about getting brutally murdered night after night, and you're brushing it aside as what? Indigestion? This is a horror movie. All nightmares are real. Treat them as such. Well, you'll be in one of your own, you'll be in one of your own before long. I've had enough out of you. This line is always spoken by the father, cop, or combination thereof. The one who has every opportunity to step in and do something, but refuses to believe some punk's cockamamie story. And why should he? Sure, there have been brutal murders here for the last 12 consecutive summers, but he buried that psychopath in Old Man Hurley's tobacco field. Buried him with his own 2 hands. What? Just because some dope-smoking kid saw something, he should drop everything and investigate? Those are just ghost stories our parents told us. Yes, and they just happen to be true. If all the moms and dads in town have spent the last 17 years telling you not to go into the abandoned mannequin factory, here's an idea. Don't go into the abandoned mannequin factory! Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Second deadly sin. Machismo. The jock who thinks his football skills are enough to defeat the reincarnated serial killer. The redneck who intends to show that vampire how they do things in Texas. The soldier who's taken on aliens way scarier than this one. All tough, all dead. Remember, fellow males, in horror movie, testosterone might as well be sinicide. It is one of my favorite books. I think I have 2 copies of this? 1 or 2, I have to check. My original copy's actually falling apart. You want some of this? Oh, sorry. You want some of this? You know the guy? You know the guy. The one who can't take it anymore. Macho guy. What's your plan, huh? Sit and wait for that thing to pick us off one by one? Grabs the last shotgun shell. No way, man, not me. He runs out into the open, yelling something like, "Come on, show me your face, you pussy." And well, you know how that ends. You're perfectly safe as long as we're around. Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. The galaxy's toughest Marines go to an alien-infested planet. See? Shut up and make me some eggs before you get a black eye. That one you don't see a lot in horror movies. You don't see the abusive husband that much. Unless it's like an anthology thing. The worst of all machismo sinners is the abusive husband or boyfriend. If you mistreat a woman in a horror movie, there's no book that can save you from your well-deserved imminent and audience-pleasing death. Oh yeah, this references a lot of horror movies. Third deadly sin, independence. Have you ever seen the documentary about wildebeests? The one where it's nothing but slow motion footage of them getting torn apart by lions and crocodiles? Great, isn't it? Funny how the predators always seem to kill the animals that are on the outer edge of the herd, the ones who are either too slow or too stupid to draw strength from their numbers. This is not a coincidence. Hopefully that's not too low or loud for you guys. Yeah, it is a trope that's pretty underused. I'm kind of glad it is, but... Screw you guys, I'm going home. Actually, you're going about a third of the way home. At which point, after you've heard the second or third twig snap behind you, you decide that maybe this wasn't such a hot idea. But by then, it's too late. As panic takes hold, you break into a jog, then a sprint, and then, oh, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Come on, guys, this isn't funny. No, it sure isn't. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten distracted and wandered away from the others. Oh, and by the way, you have, let's see here, about 4 seconds to live. We can cover more ground if we split up. You forget to add with blood between ground and if. 10 places to never, ever, ever go under any circumstances. 1. Room lit by a single hanging light bulb. 2. Rooms lit by nothing. 3. Any graveyard that isn't Arlington National Cemetery. 4. Summer camps whose annual counselor murder rate exceeds 10%. 5. Just never go to Maine. 6. The old blank. 7. Hotels/motels that aren't part of a giant international chain. 8. Upstairs. 9. Downstairs. 10. Any log cabin anywhere on the face of the earth. 4th deadly sin, ugliness. Nobody said horror movies were fair. That goes double for people with acne, glasses, or cottage cheese in the seat. You see in the everybody's a team model except the funny fat guy world of horror movies, it's a sin to be less than drop-dead gorgeous. And while it's true that even the hottest of hotties sometimes get disposed of, it's usually because he or she engages in one of the following of the other deadly sins, especially number 7, page 39. It's rare that someone is killed for good looks alone. On the other hand, ugly people could put on a body armor, lock themselves in a padded room buried beneath a mountain, and surround themselves with armored guards, and they'd still get wasted before the hour mark. 5th deadly sin, curiosity. But it explains in detail the trope, so I can believe that it can be used right. Yeah, this book is very heavily inspired a lot of what I do with my writing. And those that know the comic probably do see a couple of things in this that are in the comic, especially you'll see it more in issue 2. Curiosity. Have you ever been in a theater when the girl, in the movie, hears a strange noise and decides to see where it's coming from? Notice how everyone in the audience starts tensing up as she climbs the stairs? That's because they know one of the basic horror movie equations. Investigation equals mutilation. Now that you are that character, remember that when you go to check something out, the audience is getting tenser with every step, especially if your dialogue includes any of the following lines. Is that you, Patches? If Patches is your nickname for the naked man hiding in your closet with razor blades on his fingertips, then yes, it is. Oh, I wonder what that creepy old house looks like on the inside. Probably a lot like the inside of a creepy old house, one that you and your soon-to-be mutilated friends have no business setting foot in. Do you think it's dead? No, go ahead and poke it with a stick. We want to watch it grab your arm and bite half your face off. I love the art. Why not slap a "Murder Me Please" bumper sticker on your car? 6th deadly sin, irresponsibility. If you're supposed to be guarding the door, then guard the door. Don't wander off to take a leak. If you're supposed to be watching the kids, don't do bong hits with your headphones on. If you're supposed to wake up your friends at the first sign of a bad dream, don't fall asleep. How hard is that? In a horror movie, if you accept the task and fail to carry it out, either you or someone close to you is going to die. Aw, what's a little nap gonna hurt? A lot. Trust me, the kids are sound asleep. Nope, the kids are dead. Or they're the killers. How come I always get the crappy jobs? Because you're an idiot and you're about to prove that fact by failing miserably at the simple task you were assigned? 7th deadly sin, vehicular sex. Woo! Everybody knows the old adage about sex in horror movies. Do it and die. Well, yes and no. While it's certainly advisable to keep it in your pants while visiting the terrorverse, there are plenty of people who have sex and live to brag about it. That's because they copulate in the comfort of their own homes or the privacy of a respectable massage parlor, because they avoid the one kind of nasty that guarantees to result in death, vehicular sex, the kind counselors have when they steal the equipment van and drive into the woods, the kind the prom king and queen have in the school parking lot. In the real world, sex and cars make great bedtime make great bedfellows. But in the horror world, when someone asks for a long, hard ride in the trunk, and then the tire iron. How to survive a horror movie, high school. So this will be the last chapter we do for today. When you're in a horror movie, nothing's more dangerous than a building full of 14 to 18-year-olds. Not demons, not serial killers, not chemical weapons, nothing. And since you're currently a guest of the terrorverse, there's a very good chance that you are a high school student. At the very least, you have some kind of affiliation with the school, whether it's a teacher, parent, or recent alumni. Therefore, it's crucial that you understand the many, many dangers of being in a place where the freshman 15 refers to the number of murder per semester. Use them to your own benefit, or pass them on to friends and loved ones. Either way, welcome to Horror High, which I believe is the name of a movie that I actually just watched recently. Unclick yourself. When screenwriters craft their click-laden horror scripts, they might think, hey, what about a funny fat guy? Or, hey, a pissy goth chick would be perfect here. But they almost never think, hey, I totally need a nondescript character that's hard for my largely teenage audience to categorize. Bingo! Your goal is to be a human chunk of tofu, something that mixes well with everything but remains completely uninteresting or unappetizing. You pick. On its own, this can be largely accomplished with a new dress code. Clothing. For boys, the recommended uniform is a pair of well-fitting blue jeans, a white shirt, or black t-shirt, no slogans, band names, or logos, and low-cut sneakers. For girls, a plain knee-length skirt, unrevealing earth-tone top, preferably covered with a black cardigan, and ballet flats. The fuck are you gonna run in ballet flats? I've tried that. Fuck you. No. God, that would... I've had to do that too. I mean, it's not that bad, but I guess you can do it with worse. Hair. If you're a boy, go to the local big-name franchise hair salon and ask for the following. Short, not messy, on top. round in the back, and number 2 on the sides. Decline any offers of hair gel, and lose the sideburns. Obviously, facial hair is out of the question. For girls, anything pulled back into a ponytail, no bangs, should do the trick. Oh, I'm fine. I've got that right now. Yeah, belly flats are comfortable. If they weren't, you wouldn't be dancing in them. Accessories. As a general rule, they should be avoided. But if you must keep it simple. Cheap watch, no throwbacks, calculators, or wide bands, thin gold or silver necklace, no religious symbols, lockets, or nameplates, and simple earrings. Girls only, and no hoops. Only whores wear hoops. You're not wrong. 1973. Oh, it's on YouTube? Oh god, they made a remake? I have to actually check that out. Make friends with the shop teacher. Even when the other teachers turn out to be aliens or vampires, you can count on the shop teacher's blue-collar virtues to win the day. Plus, he does keep power tools. Shop teacher's your most valuable ally. Fuck yes, he is. What about bald? You should be fine if you're bald. Just kind of slink into the crowds and you should be fine. Don't use your locker. Also, remember, this is horror movie logic, so you don't really have any bald guys. Unless they're old men. Creepy old men. Don't use your locker. In horror movies, there are only 4 things that can happen when you're caught standing at your locker. None of them good. 1. You're harassed by the school bully. This sets off your need to teach him or her a lesson, leading you to the cornfield rave, and ultimately your gruesome death. 2. You find something creepy hanging inside, which sets off an ancient curse, leading you to become a living vessel for a long-dead demon and ultimately your gruesome death. 3. Your friend has a great idea, some childish prank that leads you to piss off someone you shouldn't have and ultimately your gruesome death. Everyone's seeing the pattern here. 4. You watch the new girl/boy walk down the hallway in slow motion. Next thing you know, you are on a quest to nail her or him, leading you to realize that he or she's actually a murderous psychopath and ultimately your gruesome death. Signs that you should stop teasing a fellow student immediately. All the doors in the room suddenly slam shut. He or she gets a nosebleed. You get a nosebleed. I actually did that to someone. He or she stares unblinking into the distance. He or she says something even remotely like, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Sorry, you know what? I should do this in this voice. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." The wind starts blowing through his or her hair, even though you're indoors. Yeah. Politely decline all after-school invitations. Just as nothing good can happen at a locker, no good can come from accepting an invitation to anything after school in a horror movie. I knew you guys would like that. Hey, you want to keep me company while I babysit tonight? No thanks. I'll take my chances juggling flaming razor-finned piranhas at my house. I figure it's safer. Hey, I heard there's like this big party at... Stop right there! That huge party will turn out to be three ugly guys and a bored girl drinking warm beer in the woods, each of whom will be eaten when they wander off to pee. Like, oh my god, you should totally come camping with us. Oh my god, I totally shouldn't, 'cause you're so gonna get decapitated. We're gonna like sneak into that boarded up hotel tonight and read Latin from a book we found. Have fun. I'll be in the Antarctic. Avoid school functions like the plague. Forget the spring social and the homecoming game. Your goal should be spending as little time with the student and faculty as possible. Every second you're in their sights, or even the campus, is another second you're being exposed to danger. Be nice to everybody. And that means everybody. From the biggest bully dickhead to the lowliest headgear wearing fatty. No matter how you're treated in return, it has nothing to do with the golden rule, and everything to do with staying alive. Remember this, the terrorverse abhors an asshole. and sooner or later it finds a way to wipe them from existence. Bring everyone cupcakes. So, we will move on to Chapter 2 next time.